first off, were there any questions with PowerPoint? I heard folks say earlier before we started the recording that they like this better, this unit, so that's a good thing. I'm already seeing more smiles this morning. Okay, so I wanted to begin in the backstage view. So when you first come into PowerPoint, this looks a lot like the backstage view. Okay, and so if you take a look at on the left side, you have home, new, open, account, feedback, options. Okay, that's typically what your backstage view looks like, but it kind of is a little bit different. So I'm just going to use escape here. And to get to your backstage view, you just select file. And so we'll see that there's a few more things that had been left out, okay, of that first initial PowerPoint screen. But you still have home, new, and open, and you still have account, feedback, and options. Okay, it's always a good thing in my mind to click around and see what's there, see what's available for you to sort of customize. And this is one of the reasons that Microsoft has been so successful in cornering the consumer market and the business market, because normally you don't get both. You get one or the other, but they were so successful in getting both of those markets because of the customization of the software. Okay, so what you can do, and let's just go all the way down to the bottom of this list and select options. Okay, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So this is not just for PowerPoint. I believe we went into it for Excel as well, just to kind of take a look around. But you can do this with any of the Microsoft 365 apps on the installed version, not the online version. Okay, so this is basically how you control how PowerPoint is going to, act. Okay, so let's say if I don't want live preview. Live preview, remember, is if I rolled my mouse pointer over something or hovered over something, whether it's a button or an image or whatever, it would basically show me what it was going to look like. Okay, with those formatting changes. But if I uncheck this, okay, and I'm going to uncheck it here just to kind of show you. And I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go and I'm just going to add something. Let's see, intro to computers. Let's do that. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to select the intro to computers. Okay. Now I'm going to go, let's say, up to let's go to our colors here, our color palette. And you see how I'm rolling over it and it's not adjusting the letters, intro to computers. Okay. The same would be if I inserted a picture or an icon. Let's see here. Let's just do image. Well, let's stick on icons because when they change, they really change. Okay, so I'm just going to insert here. Now, remember, when you insert an image or icon, any kind of illustration, and you go and you select something on that contextual ribbon, basically. Let's say, for instance, if I wanted to go here, it doesn't show me on my actual slide what that color would look like. Okay. But if I turn that live preview on, back on, because I turned it off, enable live preview, it allows you to preview what some changes would be. So do you see how it changed? And I did it before and there was no change. So that's what the power of going into your options is all about. Okay. Being able to customize or set the application up to behave how you want it to behave. Also, this is where you would put your username and initials. Now, if basically through KCTCS, it's just sort of automatic. Okay. But you can still go in there and, put your full name, however you'd like for it to, to personalize your copy. Okay. And this is also where we did the, um, to take some of the blue light out. And this is where we went basically to dark mode. Okay. So by dark mode, meaning black for the office theme, and of course, no background. Okay. But you can do other things as well. Okay. Um, you can get the ribbon, this back here that has file, home, insert, draw. Okay, you can get that to collapse automatically. So if it's not being used, it can, you know, it can just disappear. Now you can do that manually as well. Let me show you how to do it manually. So over in the bottom quadrant of the ribbon, you have this little arrow that says collapse the ribbon. Okay, and then you can also do it by keyboard shortcut, Control and F1. Okay, but that little up arrow there will collapse your ribbon. So your ribbon will only show up when you actually tap on one of the tabs. Does that make sense? Now, if you want to keep the ribbon, there's a little pin that appears where the little up arrow was, and you can pin it, meaning keep it on the screen at all times. Okay. So, but that setting in the options, basically, if I was to select that, it would automatically be in the collapse position. Okay. Now,
Miss J.
because it's unchecked, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, are you, I on my screen your cursor is not moving at all. I'm trying to follow along as you do it, but your
Hmm.
cursor is not moving. It's not moving. Have you been moving it while you been explaining the moves you're making?
Um, no, not really. Tell me what you see, and then
Well,
maybe.
I see the intro to computers or your own PowerPoint, and
Mhm.
your mouse is not moving. I thought you might have been moving it while you was explaining.
Okay, no. Um, but let me share my entire screen.
Okay.
So thank you for interrupting me because that means that it's not being recorded either. So
Okay.
thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to share my whole screen. Now, do you see it where it says PowerPoint options? Sorry. So I went to File to go to the Backstage view, and then I selected Options.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I was actually sharing the PowerPoint window, but evidently this did not want to come up for that window. So thank you for interrupting me. So on the options, as I was saying, these in the user interface options section, you can basically customize this how you want it to appear. So as I said, the enable live preview, if that has a check mark, that means anything you roll your mouse pointer over and want to possibly change it to that, it would, show you what it would look like. But if you have that unchecked, then it's not going to show it. The same with collapsing the ribbon automatically. So if I was to select this and then click OK, okay, then I would go in here and let's see. Let me refresh the screen. Sorry, hit the wrong thing. Okay. And I think it did that because I had already just pinned it. So let me close out of it. And I'm not going to save it. And then I'm going to open it back up and see if PowerPoint automatically comes with the ribbon. Yeah, so the ribbon is gone. Do you see that? So that's all because I went to File, Backstage, clicked Options, and I had selected Collapse the Ribbon automatically. Okay, so the ribbon will collapse automatically if you have that checked. But if you don't have it checked, then the whole ribbon will appear. But you can go and manually get rid of it too. But this is just a setting if these are the settings to customize your copy of the application. And this also works for Word or Excel or Access. So they all have their own separate options. Okay. Then on the left here, you have other options such as proofing. So do you know how when you're typing something and the red little squiggly lines come underneath the word if it's misspelled, or if you have some phrases that are not necessarily a complete sentence, there's some grammar issues. So this is how that all works. Okay. So it says change how PowerPoint corrects and formats text as you type. So when you click on autocorrect options, you have a list of things that it's going to automatically correct. So let's say, for instance, if you know you have a problem with certain letters as you're typing, you haven't necessarily mastered the keyboard yet, you can certainly fix common, you know, typos or things that you sometimes get mixed up. Now with mine, I get so fast that I even sometimes misspell my name, my first name with the two R's. And I notice that some of the junk mail that I get at my house comes with that same issue. So sometimes I'll do that, you know, because my fingers are typing faster than my brain, my coordination with my brain to my hands. So I can say in this replace box, this is what I normally would do. Anytime that happens, please correct it with that. And then I click add on there and it goes on the list and I click OK. So anytime I type in that misspelling, SHERYR, and I use the space, it automatically corrects it for me. Okay, so that's what your autocorrect options, give you. So again, you have to go to proofing here, autocorrect options, and just down here, replace text as you type. Okay, so there's already sort of a list of things that are, common, okay, that all users struggle with. Okay. And I'm not going to go through the entire list, but we all know one, right? Anyone ever do this? TEH for the or the. Now I do this sometimes too, and it will automatically correct it with the correct word. Okay, so that's what this whole area is about. Okay, it's just common misspellings. Okay. Now, and there are other things that, correct, such as auto format as you type, fractions, okay, ordinals with superscript, meaning that the letters will come just risen a little bit above the number in first, second, third. Okay. So you type it as this, just straight across, and it will automatically correct with like just raised a little bit up at the very top part of that number. So these things are automatically, you know, sort of already checked, but if you are creating a document or something where you need this to not automatically happen, you just simply come on here and you uncheck it, and it will stop automatically correcting it. Does that make sense? Also, there's like a math autocorrect. So let's say you're trying to construct a document that has, you know, some some math symbols or, you know, um, math terminology. These are some of the things that are common. They're already sort of built in there. It's like a library of common issues. So you can add, we see this replace, so you can put the false one here or the incorrect one here, and then in the with box, put the correct one. And then you would add and click OK. And once you did that, it's in the library. And if you use the incorrect one, it'll automatically, correct it for you with the correct one. Okay. But there's lots of things that you can do in the options. Okay. So you can even, if you go to save, you can tell PowerPoint how often you want to save your work. So like here, mine is set to every 10 minutes, right? Remember on Google Slides that uh, on Google Slides and also on PowerPoint online, it automatically kind of saves at like every minute, right? So you could do the same thing for your installed version of PowerPoint. So you just simply use the down arrow and put it at 1 minute. You would click OK, and every minute it would save your file that you were working on. So you would know at least, you know, as you've been typing, if there's a power outage or, something weird happens, that you had, at least you got all of your updates up to a minute before it went wrong. Okay. Now there's also something that came along in the last 2 to 3 years where Microsoft, it used to be if you um, went through a power outage or something like that, you lost your document if you didn't save it, right? Well, now they have like an auto recover feature. Um, so it will automatically bring up the last document that you worked on. Okay. If you bring that application back up, it'll say, PowerPoint has auto recovered this particular file. And then you have the ability to say, okay, I want to save this. Okay. Or you could just say, let it go. Okay. But it will be the first thing that will pop up as soon as you open up the application. Okay. But there's lots of stuff that you can do. You can tell your files where you want them to go. Okay, so my default file location to save my documents on my computer goes to the documents folder, okay, on my computer. Now, if I wanted it to go, say for instance, to another folder, I could label it schoolwork. If I wanted it to go there, then I would put schoolwork where documents is, okay? But of course, that means you have to create a folder called schoolwork, okay? And you have to place it in your main directory where documents is for it to, you know, for it to know where to go. Okay. But there's a host of things that you can, go through. And I would say a lot of people, and it's not just folks that are, 30 and up. even the 18-year-olds that come fresh out of high school, that come to Jefferson, they're scared to touch anything, fearing that they'll break it. I promise you won't break it. So just click around, and see what's there, because you can basically customize your experience, and make it better for you. Okay. You can even customize the ribbon. Okay. So you can tell, um, basically what tabs you want to see in PowerPoint. See, these are all of the tabs that currently appear now in PowerPoint, but there are others that are not being shown, such as recording and developer. So, as I mentioned to you, this class is just an introduction to what all of these applications do. Um, so, it's not necessarily an end all class. Now, we have other classes that kind of take all of these tools, all of these applications to the next level. Okay. And there's so much more that you can do with PowerPoint than what you learn in this class, believe it or not. I have a class starting in the fall that where we leave off at chapter 4 for PowerPoint, it picks up at chapter 5 and goes all the way to chapter 9 or 10. And then after that, there's another class that deals with creating macros and creating the code, to make, your PowerPoint slides or your Word documents or your Excel spreadsheets go even further. Okay, so this is just kind of like the beginning. Okay, it truly is an introduction. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, now quick access toolbar. This is where you see the auto save up here with your little save button, undo and redo. Okay, that's called your quick access toolbar. So you can put whatever commands that you frequently use on that quick access toolbar. And so here's the popular commands that Microsoft has identified that people use the most. And so if you want one of those commands up there in your quick access toolbar, you can certainly just simply click on it over here and click add. Okay. So if you know that you're going to be printing out stuff, okay, just simply select quick print, click add, and click OK, and it will appear in your quick access toolbar. Okay. So there's so much stuff that you can do. Um, and I think it's important that you know what's there. Okay. Now back to the backstage view, there's also other stuff that um, not a lot of folks even realize that's there. Okay. So let's say, for instance, if we click on info, this is where you can create a presentation and then come to the info section and block people from being able to edit your presentation or your files, say for instance in Microsoft Word or Excel. If you don't want someone editing something that you share with them, you can just basically click on protect and you can encrypt it, you can restrict access to it. Okay. Um, or you could mark it to always open for read only. So even if they tried to, make some changes, they couldn't save it. Okay. So it's up to you how you want to do that. Okay. Um, and so also for every file that you create, there are a set of properties that are listed over here where you can actually see the title. Right now, of course, the title of this particular presentation is just PowerPoint presentation, but you could actually go in there. It's an editable field and you could, give it a name. You could add tags or easier ways for you to locate your files. So let's say, for instance, you're working on a project for CIT 105. You could actually add a tag of CIT. And then when you do a search in File Explorer, um, to search through all of your files, you could add that tag CIT. And that it'll help find your file quicker. Okay, so that's really what tags are for. Okay, every time that you modify a file, it basically tags that file, or gives it a time and date stamp. um, Also, when you create it, it'll time and date stamp that as well. Okay, if you have more than one person working on a document, maybe you co-authored, you know um, you know, a published document or something, or a published file, you can also add a second person as an author. Um, and then, of course, here's the show all properties. This is not all of the properties. Show all gives you a whole list of other stuff. Okay. So I would say just click on stuff to sort of get more of an introduction, because there's so much stuff out there. Okay. Um, let's go to save as. Now, save as is a pretty neat tool in that you can save the file normally as a PowerPoint or .pptx file, but you can also save the file as a different type of file, like um, you can save the file as a .pdf, or portable document format file, which is basically, no matter what kind of computer someone uses, PDF is understood as, you know, as a file format that everyone has, and they don't necessarily have to have PowerPoint on their machine to see it. Okay, so how you would do that is you would select whatever directory location you want it to save it to. And then when you give the file a name, just underneath there is a little drop down arrow where you can save files in different formats. Okay. So if you know of someone who hasn't, like UPS, I don't think they've upgraded um, their office suite since 2003. So if you already know that and you're working from home and you have, Microsoft 365, which is basically the 2020 version, you could still save it in the format from 97 to 2003. Um, so, and I think that was .ppt here. The difference between these is really in what they do. So whenever you see such as POTX or POTM, these are template files that you can, or formats that you can save your files into. And each application has the same sort of setup. So it's important that you know that this is something that is available for you. Okay. All right. Any questions with that? Hold on, I'm seeing something. Is the person's whose telephone number is showing up ending in 59 terabelt? I have no idea. I didn't even see a number. Is someone joining us by phone today? You can unmute yourself by using, I think it's *6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm not for sure because it doesn't tell me who it is. Hold on. Yeah, it doesn't tell me who it is, Greg. Sorry. Okay. All right. Then the print here in Backstage View. This is where you could, if you were doing a PowerPoint presentation for like a formal, you know, like a job situation, and you needed to share notes with your audience, you would come here to the print, okay? Or you would need to share not necessarily notes, but your slides, and then also a way for your audience to take notes. Okay, so that's why the notes came out of my brain. So you would come over here into the settings area, and you could, under full page slides, you could say print 3 slides per page, and you see it kind of on the little icon. There are like horizontal lines next to each slide. It's like a smaller version of your slide so that your audience could take notes. Okay, so that's the one if you want to um, print your slides and give your audience something to take notes on, you would use the 3 slides one. But definitely you could do it in any other type of format as well. Okay. And this by no means is an exhaustive, review of every single element in PowerPoint. This is just some of the more common things that people like to be able to do with PowerPoint. And that's why I'm kind of going through it. Okay. Now, the share feature, of course, as I mentioned, you have the ability with the desktop application to, just like you would with the online version, to share your file with multiple people and even have some sort of collaboration with those multiple folks. So I could use my OneDrive KCTCS to share with people. And then, of course, I have another email address that I do a lot of work on. I could decide which one I wanted to use to share a particular document with several users. Okay, and of course you can always attach copies to emails. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that natively in email. I see someone. Make sure I'm not missing anyone. Oh, okay. All righty. Um, and then export. Not a lot of people know that the export is here, so I just want to kind of show this to you. Now, remember how, I said you can save your PowerPoint presentation into a PDF format. XPS is kind of like PDF, but XPS was created by Microsoft, so you have to have Windows in order to display XPS documents. But you can certainly export your file into either one of those formats just by going to export and this selection here. You can also make your PowerPoint presentation into a video. Okay, so if you were doing some kind of, I'm trying to think of ways that it would make sense to do it. So if you were creating some sort of video to demonstrate how to do things, you could click create a video here and then upload it to, say, for instance, YouTube. It would save it in a .mp4 format for you. You could also create animated GIFs. Okay. Some of the things that you would see on social media with people, you know, um, sort of, recreating an image of themselves, that would be considered to be a GIF. Okay. This option here, this is a little advanced, but I'll tell you what it is anyway. Um, this was created because PowerPoint used to be really problematic um, for folks that did not have PowerPoint. So if you went to, say, for instance, a business to give a presentation and they did not have, say, for instance, an internet connection where you could, you know, run the presentation remotely, um, you could basically package your presentation on a CD when we did have CD-ROM drives on our computers, and you could basically burn your presentation to a CD so that it didn't matter if that company had a had PowerPoint on premises. You could still package it, and it would give you what was called the PowerPoint um, viewer program installed on the CD as well, so that you could run your presentation. Okay, and this was really good for you know for away trips if you had to give a presentation, just to have a backup. I did it several times at conferences because we were supposed to have internet access, but we didn't. And so it was a good thing that I did. But I'm not for sure, how many people even know that this still exists in PowerPoint, but you would go to export to get to it. Okay. Now, did I hear someone get off mute? Did you have a question? Okay. Now, it also tells you here that free viewers are available on the web. Well, what if you can't get to the web, right? Um, and hotels and colleges, universities are notorious for not having internet access in certain rooms when you go to give presentations. Some businesses have issues as well, just depending upon where you're giving the presentation to. So just be kind of aware of that. Okay. Um, Now let's get back to our PowerPoint presentation. Do we have any questions? Anything that is on our mind right now about PowerPoint? Okay. All right. Well, if you do, just let me know. Now, as with all of the other Microsoft 365 applications, your help system is very methodical. Okay. You can search through your help system just as you would, searching on google.com. Okay. You would just click the help here and then select the question mark that says help. Okay. If you had specific questions, then you could search for the help. Okay. But they do have common areas that people have searched, and that's why they have sort of segmented those off. Then they have recommended topics. Let me minimize that. They have recommended topics. Okay. A lot of people want to know how to use PowerPoint, and whether you're on a Mac or on a Windows machine, the training is available on Microsoft's site, but they basically provided a link basically to all the training in here. Okay. So you click on that, and there are short little quick videos that show you how to do, slides and layouts and add texts and tables, pictures and graphics. Okay. Help with your slideshows, setting those up either for a kiosk setting or, the timing and all of that. So here's animation, video, and audio. Look at that. Share and co-author. Okay. And then, of course, you can always learn more about using those 3D models. Okay. And here's taking a tour. You're basically downloading a template and it will basically give you a tour of all of PowerPoint. So it's pretty, pretty feature rich in the help system. Doesn't matter which application you go into the help system for, they're all pretty similar. Also, you can contact support if you have issues. This is Microsoft support. If you run into any issues with any of the Office applications, that's really what you see, this Office support agent. This whole suite of applications was called the Office Suite. Okay, so then you can also give feedback to PowerPoint if you experience weird things from machine to machine. That's when I would give them feedback. Well, hey, when I use this kind of machine, I'm having this issue. I can't see design ideas on this machine as I would see it on another one, you know. Um, and then of course that whole training suite, video training. Okay. And then here's the new stuff. So this is the whole benefit of having the subscription version of these applications, meaning the cloud version. um, Basically daily, weekly, monthly, they are making updates and changes to the software. And sometimes it's a little difficult to keep up with all of this stuff. Okay. But there's a way that you can manually go into the help and basically ask what's new lately, what's come in this subscription version that's new. And we see here they're telling you presenter coach is something new that's been added lately. Okay. And look here, it says get feedback on the things that help keep an audience engaged, like pacing, pitch, filler words, sensitive phrases, and more. So they're giving you a coach for PowerPoint to construct your slideshows um, or presentations the best possible way to engage an audience. Okay. And so it's all pretty neat stuff. I mean, and it's on all of Microsoft's applications. It's not just PowerPoint. Even Microsoft Teams that I use to coordinate um, these meetings has one of the same features. If I was to go into the bar here and we see it at the top of the screen, what's new, okay, it would tell me what they've added recently for Microsoft Teams. Okay. And they actually date them in here. So we can see one of the things that I was telling you about, those GIFs or emojis. Okay. They've made changes. And yes, they do a lot of the software that fly again for Macs as well. So if you do have a Mac, you still will be able to use the Microsoft 365 applications, and Teams is part of that. Um, so all of their applications are really customizable. Um, and you can find out a lot of information just by going to the help. Um, so just know that. Any questions? Any questions at all? Okay. Well, I mean, I think that, that in and of itself is, um, a pretty thorough review of PowerPoint. Um, of course, there's so much more, but we want to try to keep it as basic as possible for this particular class. Okay. But as I always say, you want to explore. Just click on things, see how things work. Um, you never know. It may be something that makes completely perfect sense for you. You know what I'm saying? In your situation. So I once created a PowerPoint presentation for our Black Affairs advocacy group where it was dealing with all the civil rights, um, pictures and stuff. So I made it into a kiosk. So as folks were coming into the event, I think it was for MLK Day, as folks were coming into the event, it just played on the screen. And then it would basically loop, back with all of the different images from the civil rights, movement and before, because it, of course, has a long history. But, you can certainly do that with any kind of presentation that you create. Okay. Just don't create a timeline when you're speaking, because if those slides go on, you're going to have to take time out of your presentation to sort of rewind, go to the computer, fix it, and then start your presentation over. Okay. So just be real cautious of that. Oh, and one last thing is when you're doing a slide, and I'm just going to put something here. Okay, we see our design ideas going, and we see, because I put students in there and class, now we see graduation caps and all of that. Okay, so let's see that. Okay, so sort of an animation. There's more of what we're used to, right? But that looks a little drab. Um, but I did not come, and put anything in here for that. What I wanted to show you was notes. Okay, so if you've never heard of notes for PowerPoint, um, basically down near the taskbar, okay, where it says slide 1 of 1, if you come all the way over here and where it says notes, you click on notes, there's a little area that says click to add notes. What this area does is it helps you, the presenter, to know or remember what you were intending to say. So this really only works if you're in presenter's view. Okay. So I could say in here, welcome students to CIT 105. Um, show some enthusiasm, get students excited to learn this semester. Okay. Now, these notes are only going to appear to the presenter, or in this case, Professor Jacob, right? So the students, now you're seeing my entire screen, right? But the notes only appear to the presenter. Okay. Now, if I went into, say, for instance, um, let's do from beginning. On your screen, of course, you're seeing the presentation, right? The presenter is going to see the presentation in a small window and see the notes. So if the presenter is facing a computer and then the students are seeing a presentation behind the presenter or the professor or the instructor, then the students are not seeing the notes that are on the instructor's machine, okay, or their screen. So the same thing for any other presentation. You could make it to where you have a laptop and you still see your notes. Okay, so you don't have to. We used to have to use note cards, like 3.5 inch note cards with our presentation notes, and now it's built right into the software. Okay, so that's the whole point to the notes down at the bottom. It's for the presenter. Those are presenter's notes. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay, you all are quiet today. But so how's everything going with all of your assignments?
Hey, Miss Jacobs.
Yeah.
Um, I'm still when I get at the end of my module and I
Mm-hmm.
go into assignment 1.1.1.2, I'm having problem. I don't see where it says start file. And I'm having a problems getting my assignments done because I don't see the icon where it says start file and I can start my my assignment.
Hmm. You're talking about on Blackboard?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me get there.
I think last class, me, Troy, and Jody, we was doing it step by step, and I was able to get in, but I wasn't able to get back in on my own. So
Okay. So let me
if I could just see a quick walkthrough from you, I'll probably get it this time.
okay. So courses. Now this view here is my view,
Okay.
but I'm going to go into what you should see as a student. Okay. So which folder?
You can just click on 4, I guess. Just
Okay. So when I click on 4, I see module introduction.
okay.
Okay. If I tap on that, whenever you see view, that is basically a Blackboard document.
Yeah, just
Okay.
reading. Yeah, just
Yeah,
reading.
it's just reading.
All right.
Okay. And then to get back to the main course content area, I would just click the X, and then here's your voice thread. Here's the replays of our live sessions.
Okay.
Here's 4.1. This is just showing you the learning outcomes for this unit. Again,
Right.
it says view, so it's just
Right.
your reading. Okay. So what was it that you weren't able to get into?
The challenges. Yeah, the challenges. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So for me, because I'm the instructor, it's going to show up differently. And I don't think I've become a preview user, but let's click on one.
Okay.
Okay. So let me close that. Um, so in order to get into the file, you have to click on launch.
And I think I've just now noticed a difference because as I'm doing my the SimNet books and
Mm-hmm.
the challenges are at the end,
Mm-hmm.
uh, just get out of that and then go through the courses, and that's how I can get it.
Right. You have to
Okay,
go to
I got
Blackboard. Yeah. You
you.
can either
Yeah. Okay.
do that. You can either do that or um now I'm not for sure.
Which I think you just showed me the way to do it because I was trying to once I finished my SimNet books and those challenges were at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to go directly into them. Well, I should have just backed out of the SimNet and went in through courses, right?
Well, yeah, you can get back to Blackboard,
Right.
okay, and work directly from Blackboard, or you
Okay.
could stay on SimNet. You have a couple of options, okay?
Okay. Okay.
You could stay on SimNet, and so let's say, for instance, this was for, let's say you finished working on the Sim book, right?
Right.
You could, this is what you would see, like SimNet, right?
Right.
Um, and here's all of your tasks. If you completed that and you're ready to go into the
Assignment.
projects, yeah,
Hmm.
you could just simply click on assignments here,
Okay.
okay? And then go into that number 4,
Right.
okay? And here are your SimNet projects.
Project. Okay. Right. All right. I got
Yeah, you just it you know you just have to be familiar with it. That's why I said go ahead and click on stuff, because
you.
you can probably find your way around here. Like, say for instance, if you were in a sim book and you
Mhm.
wanted to know all of your grades, you could just simply click on
Yeah.
grades and it would show you all of your grades that you've earned.
Right.
But assignments would show you all of your assignments, and they're grouped into the units that they fill in.
Right. Got it.
So
Yeah.
this is, anything that
Oh,
you complete on SimNet will automatically update on Blackboard,
okay.
in the grade
Right.
book. So you could
Right.
actually physically stay on SimNet and do them, but, it's up to you,
Right.
but you certainly can go back, into that folder and complete the, you
Challenge.
know,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Thank you so
those
much.
projects. Sure.
All right.
Any other questions? Any other questions from anyone?
And one more question, like you
Sure.
said, the due dates, they're not, you're not holding us just solely to that, like if I
Yeah,
don't.
it's just a guide.
Okay.
It's
All right.
just a
Got
guide for you, but definitely you want to have everything submitted
you.
before the end of day on July 9th.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Is
because
that
if
the last day of class,
it
Professor?
is, well, it's the last day that any assignments will be accepted.
Okay.
So that's the end of classwork. Okay. Our last official day of meeting online will be that same week. It'll be on the 8th of July.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. I
Which
believe
which I think
it's
it
either
should
the
be,
6th or the 8th. I'm
it
sorry. Go ahead.
should be plenty of time for those of us who might still be behind.
Yeah, and it's fine.
Yeah, it is.
It's fine. I would say the only time it's not fine is when you just give up and just say, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I've been
Uh,
ready to do that a couple of times.
it can get like that sometimes,
Right. But
It
you
can
know
get
what?
like
What I found out, like just this week, I was, I felt discouraged, and then I got on a roll, and I just said, I just committed. I said, look, I'm just going to start on this one module, and I'm not going to stop until I complete it. And I did it in, short of a period of time than I thought.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Just don't give up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Keep plugging away. And I mean, there's so many distractions, right? For
Right.
our time, our energy, our focus. And so
Right.
if you can just steal away a good hour or two, you
Right.
know what I'm saying, and just plow through, you could probably plow through three or four of those sim books in an hour or two.
Yeah.
You know what
I've
I'm
done a lot of
saying? So,
tricks. While I'm watching TV, I'll do something on a commercial break.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, you just
Hey,
gotta get it in where you can
you
fit it in.
gotta get it in. Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Any other questions or comments or concerns? Anything that I can help you guys with today? Are we good? Troy, are you still on here? I saw you earlier.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Troy. Do you want to say anything to the students today, Troy?
No, not at all. Good
Okay.
luck.
Good
TV,
luck.
TV off.
Right. Get your TV off and, yeah. But if you have any questions, of course, Troy and I are available. You can email me. I'll be available later on tonight, um, for the one office hour that I have at 10 o'clock. So if you have any questions, then you can email me and we can get on, a live meeting if you need some assistance. Okay. But you got to email me first. And then Troy, how do students contact you?
They can just give me a call and then we'll go from there. We'll work out a schedule for them or whatever. I'm currently on vacation from my other job, so it's more a little available. So they just got to give me a call.
Okay. Awesome. And Troy did, I see it in the chat. Troy put his number in the chat. So if you need any assistance from him, certainly, give him a call. Okay. Do we see the chat? 230-9016. Okay. Greg, do you have anything for the students? Is Greg still on here? He may have gotten off. Yeah, I don't see him on here. Well, if you have any questions, just let me or Troy know, and we'll do our best to help you. Okay. So that's all that I have for today, and I'll see you next time.
I just
Thank
wanted
you.
to say before you and
Sure.
Troy hang up, you really do help. I mean, thank goodness for you too. You have made this class, so without you, I couldn't have done it.
Ah,
Me either.
bless your heart. Bless your heart. Thank you.
I
Troy,
think
kudos to Troy.
Yeah.
Troy's an
Troy will
exceptional help.
stick on it. Troy will stick on there and hang in with us until the end.
Yeah. That's his personality too. Troy's fun.
I appreciate it.
Jody, did you get it done?
Yeah, I did. I found it. I panicked, but I found it.
Oh, you found?
You
Yeah.
panicked just a little bit.
Mhm. We went through
Okay.
all that work, and then I went to submit it, and I submitted the wrong one, and it said a 0, and I thought that's not right.
Yeah. Oh, good point, Jody. Yeah, if you have any issues like what Jody's describing and you submit the wrong project, just send me an email and I can completely wipe that out and give you another attempt. Okay, so don't get completely discouraged if you submit, a wrong file for one of those projects. I can definitely assist you on my end. You just have to email me and tell me what's going on. And be very specific when you
right.
email, because I won't know what project you're talking about unless you tell me. Okay, I need the unit and the project number to be able to help you. Okay.
And one last question, Miss Jacobs, for
Sure.
me.
Sure.
70 is passing grade, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. 69.5 is rounded up to 70.
Uh,
Yeah.
Stephen
uh,
knows spelling.
Oh, huh?
I said Stephen knows that 70 spelling.
well, hey, I'm one of those borderline type of students. I just need to make it, right?
Yep, that's okay. That's okay. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
because I have some folks that come right out of high school, and you'd be
Yeah.
surprised. They're earning 18%, and I'm like, that means you basically did nothing, like nothing. You know?
It took a lot for some of us to get out of our comfort zone and get back. Like, we're really in class. We are
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
students. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I'm in the 50 plus club, so this could have been this quite intimidating for
You
me.
know? Yeah. I mean, it can be, but as
Right.
long as you persist, you know what I'm saying? As long as you are curious
Right.
and you want to do it, you have that inkling to get it done,
Right.
then, that's half your battle right there.
Right.
Doing it, as you said earlier, you just get in there, get in a groove and
Yeah.
and start doing it. And
Yeah.
it'll start making sense. It really will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you need any help, you have me and Troy,
Hey,
to
you've
to
helped me
assist.
already today.
Well,
I
that's a
can
good
get,
thing,
I can probably
right?
get about 3 challenges done today.
Well, you never know.
yeah,
Look,
y'all have
stranger
been
things have
awesome.
happened. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I thank you guys for hanging in there, and you know, you're going to do it. I
Yeah. Yeah.
feel very confident that you're going to do well. So,
Right.
just stay positive and you'll get there.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
All righty. Well, you all take care.
Okay. You too.
Okay.